What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream. And man, this one right here, I think this is going to be an all-timer for the record books, Mr. Reid. I think that this one right here is the one right here. So we're going to take our time with this right here. We're going to break it down ever so gently. Hey, it's like those old black dudes that cook ribs. Hey, you got to cook it till it fall off the bone, man. Got to cook it till it fall off the bone. But man, y'all see the title. Y'all know we about to get into. But how are you doing today, Mr. Reid?
Man, I'm doing good, but I tell you what, boy, it's a little different when you labor after midnight.
Oh man,
It's a little different when you got to labor after midnight, then get up and get to work by like 8 o'clock in the morning for some more drama. So it was a little different, but hey,
oh, I'm sure, man. But y'all see y'all see the title. Y'all see what's going on, man. Urban Meyer out as Jaguars head coach, which I am surprised though. I was surprised because after the initial story that Pelissero broke came out, that he came out and kind of endorsed him like he had all the other previous times. And I was like, okay, this is some of this stuff is hearsay, and maybe some of the stuff is blown up more than it actually was, but there are still problems. The fact that this is out is an issue. And then Mr. Josh Lambo came through with a bucket of water, and while Khan was trying to build this franchise with sand, and he was saying, hey, this ain't working. You all had to start over, and threw the water on it and knocked it all down. And he said, no, sir, we got to do better than this. And I think it's a step in the right direction. Right now, for Shad Khan, there's nothing more important than Trevor's development. Nothing more important. So you hire the GM, the head coach, and all of that within mind. And I will say, hey, you don't went the college route. Savvy veteran, a guy who's been in the NFL for years. He understands. He's been in a high-ranking position for years, and he understands how things work. Players like him, other coaches like him, and people want to play for him. That's what you're looking for. And hey, you don't have to jump at the first guy. Interview everybody, whether it's Jim Caldwell, Byron Leftwich, Eric Bieniemy, Josh McDaniels, Kellen Moore. Dude, if Marvin Lewis wants to come here, whatever you want to do, interview everybody, get a feel for everybody. And hey, I'm still not opposed to him finding him a football guy, somebody who, like I say, Ozzie Newsome, who, hey, you ain't even got to be here like that, Ozzie. Just be a consultant. Just be a consultant and let me know when things just aren't quite right. So what did you go? What was going through your mind last night when that came through? Because I know you had to get to work.
well, what I was thinking immediately was,
What up, Pastor?
man, couldn't they announce this at 7 a.m. instead of 12:40 in the morning?
Yeah.
But I'll say this, I think that Shad Khan did his due diligence. He knew that this situation wasn't gonna get any better. There was gonna be, from the if 4 games going the season, something was gonna probably happen every, next week, that following
Yeah.
week. He got to the point. After that, during the press conference after Tennessee, where he basically said that if anybody, if there's someone that's disclosing information, and they're going to get fired on this in seconds, and it just, long story short, man, you cannot have a head coach who is the biggest distraction in the franchise. That's wrong in itself, and I give you an example, man.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in that facility at TIAA Bank Fields, they didn't like him. We went to the
Yeah.
practice field today. I saw guys dancing. I ain't seen that show no emotion like the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Barch was doing the funky chicken. The funky chicken.
Yeah.
Jihad Ward was spinning on his head at practice. And they were moving like, man, I ain't seen these guys move like they moved in the little portion that was open in like 3 seasons, man. They were going, they were contesting balls. The DB was going after the receivers. The music was bland. They had Meek Mill, I think that's his
Meek
name.
Mill.
Meek Mill. They had him on there, and they like played all this stuff on there. So
Yeah, it was a good day. It was a good
so the
day.
atmosphere was upbeat. Guys looked like they were happy. They were smiling and high fiving each other and everything. And it's just like, man, that tells me all I needed to know. That man, that cloud of Urban Meyer, those guys was happy that that cloud was gone, man.
Yeah,
And you know what? You know, a lot of people say a lot of things, but Urban put all this on himself, man. I mean, Irvin is
yeah,
created all of this. I felt, and I think I said on your show last week, I don't think Urban put the energy. I don't think he invested what he needed to invest in. I think he was more a football coach who wanted he put too much stock in the guys who's been in the league. Like he put too much investment in his coordinators who was basically like running the team.
yeah,
And it's almost to me like he checked out. Like he was like he was coaching retired. You know, it's like
hmm
he was delegating too much. And a lot of this stuff is true, man. Policero's story is a lot got confirmation on a lot of things that most of the stuff that was reported was true.
for
You know,
sure.
you can't treat these guys like little kids, man. You can't you can't treat them. You know, some of the language that he said to those players and just the things, even with the Josh Lambo situation, kicking the guy and talking about you need to, make the field goals and just treating them
hmm
with no dignity, no respect. And guys, if they getting paid and they know they gonna get paid, and I used to say this in the NBA, if you're gonna be a coach in this generation with the young people today, you're not gonna bully them into doing anything that they won't do it. They'll go through
No,
the motion, they'll think you, they'll outsmart you, but you're not gonna force effort. You're not going to force things out of this young
yeah,
group now that you would have did with a group 10, 20 years ago. You're not going
yeah,
to intimidate them. You're not going to threaten this and threaten that, and they just going to conform. And if you don't treat them with dignity, they're going to quit on you. And I think that just some of the treatment and just I don't think they really respected him. I think that the incident happened in October in the bar. I think it got to a point where he lost the respect of the team, and then when he couldn't really press them, but it's just how you speak to people, and when
yeah,
you don't, you can't have a record, you can't come in the NFL and toot your horn over 3 national championships and you never had a losing season in college and expect to immediately be regarded and respected as a great coach,
yeah,
because a great coach wins Super Bowls. A great coach don't win, he's a great college coach, but there's a difference between college and pros. You know,
yeah,
you don't have Purdue on your schedule in the NFL. You gotta tangle with the big boys every Sunday. And I think, and I said this on your show, even when back in the summertime, he had a
Well,
bullseye. It
mhm,
was a bullseye on this guy from the moment that he signed the
yep,
contract. Their coaches saying this guy came out of Ohio State, retired for 2 years, and he's making more money than me. And I done won playoff games. I done won Super Bowl. He was making more than some coaches that won Super Bowl.
yep,
And if he didn't think that those guys are gonna have it on him as he's gonna be a bullseye, we're gonna do everything we can to show this guy up. And Urban, the point, long story short, I don't think he did his homework enough to understand the level of competition in the NFL. You have to be prepared. You have to know. I don't think he
yep,
spent a whole lot of time on strategy. I don't think he spent a lot of amount of time on studying players, teams, concepts. I just thought he was going through the motions,
yeah,
and the record shows for it, and it
yeah,
just got to a point where it was just one turmoil thing after the next. Is that the way he handled that James Robinson situation was unprofessional.
God hope.
You don't pass the buck. If you and in that policy in that NFL.com story, I mean it is true. He was the one demanded that James Robinson come out the game and get Carlos Hyde in the game against the Rams. And it's just
Mhm.
like, man, look here, man. If you're a head coach and you don't stand for nothing, and you're gonna pass blame on to your assistants and don't take ownership for making decisions, you've lost your team.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from that. You might tell the media one thing, but those guys in the locker room know that you sold Parmalee out. Your running back, you just sold him out. You placed the blame on him, and every guy in that locker room know exactly what you did. And you can't play games with grown people, man. You can't.
No.
You might can do that on Ohio State, and you got impressionable sophomores, freshmen, and juniors. But man, you can't play no mind games on professional athletes, man. No way.
No. No, I said that. I said that when I heard the story about Josh Lambo. I said, had
Mhm.
he kicked the 19-year-old kicker who's in college trying to make the team, you would have never heard about it. He's probably done it and you've never heard about it.
Oh yeah,
But this is a grown man that has grown man responsibilities and grown man bills to pay. And you just he I was listening to Shannon Sharp talk about it. He said, you caught the right one on the right day. He said, but you won't catch the right one on the wrong day because I couldn't imagine a grown man kicking me, talking about me. I don't care who he is. My
no
dad
doubt.
has never kicked me. So that when I saw that, I said, man, this guy's got to go. It's a wrap. But you're right. His approach seems like it was like he was like football is football, regardless of the level. Football is football. So he kind of went into the approach of he said, okay, I was successful here.
Yeah,
A few things here and there, bring some people in that know some stuff, and it'll be whatever. It's like he skimmed through and then trying to take the test of the NFL after just maybe studying only a
yeah,
few weeks or so. But you needed to do much more than that. But
yeah.
Sunday specifically, they quit. There's no question. There's no question that the Jacksonville Jaguars quit on Urban Meyer Sunday because the score was 20-0, but it should have been 50-0. It's
Yeah.
just that the Titans are right now, they got injuries and they're not playing on a high level right now. So
Yeah.
even during that game, there was times where I'm like, yo, the Titans should be beating us by 40 right now. But it was like 10. So I was like, no. But it was clear that they quit on him Sunday. And once a team quits, it's very rare that a coach is able to come back from it. I've seen it happen too many times.
Yeah.
I watched, if you remember, Wade Phillips was in Dallas, and the
Mhm.
Dallas Cowboys quit on him. Next game, he was gone.
Mhm.
Let's
And
see.
man, just the physical. I mean, I don't want to hear any more. I don't care who they bring in as the next head coach. I don't
Mhm.
want to hear any. If they keep this same offensive line that they have right now, they won't win more than four or five games. Whoever
Yeah,
comes into Jacksonville, you got to make decisions. I think one of the biggest mistakes he made, and I said this a whole lot of times, is bringing back George Warhol. I mean, it's the concepts. I mean, he's coaching
yeah,
like it's the 1990s.
yeah,
They don't even zone block. Every team in the league zone block, and they just have, one guy go that direction, the other guy go this direction. The gaps, and I mean, his concepts is like run. It's like a concept of run blocking. It's not.
yeah,
It's like it's outdated. And for the life of me, they wasn't good last year. And why would you bring everybody back? Brandon Linder. Let me say about Brandon Linder. Brandon Linder might have was a great player in his day, but he can't stay healthy. What's the
no,
point if you got a guy out of the years he played in the league, he only played one full season, and he's got $1 million clause in his contract that if he plays every game, he gets that $1 million. If he can't, if you got $1 million incentive and you still can't hit it after 5 or 6 seasons, what that tells you.
yeah. He's not reliable.
Yeah,
He's a great player, but
yeah.
he's going to miss too much time.
And they gotta, if they're gonna move forward, which I hope they move forward. I mean, I hope he goes, Shad Khan goes. I mean, get a good coach. And I agree with you, Brandon. Take your time. There's no rush. You
No
know,
rush.
you really, and I kind of wish that Shad would just give it to somebody else's hands. I mean, I think the guy done went out. You look at he hired Malarkey. He went with he made the general manager make that decision. He got Gus Bradley, a nice guy. He felt like a nice guy from a Seattle situation where they always won, and they just needed a new voice, kind of a
Yeah,
guy who could get along with players, a little different from Coughlin, and just have a lot more harmony. That didn't work. You got Doug Marrone, who basically was a retread. If you really
yeah,
put it down to size, I don't think he really put invested the time in to go in and get a good coach with Marrone. He went the easy way since Marrone
yeah,
was the interim coach, and
yeah,
he didn't really spend the time to go get the right man for the job. And
yeah,
now, you got Urban Meyer. And the biggest question on Urban, it was two questions about Urban. How would he hold up in the NFL about losing? You know,
yeah,
and then you got to go back on the tradition. You go back, Petrino, you go back to Saban, the guys that were good college coaches didn't do diddly in the NFL.
yeah,
And I feel that he never had to like really push and really have to fight to hire somebody. It always the culture that he had, there was always, it's an opportunity that he had never had before. So he didn't really have to push to try to hire him like he had to do with Urban Meyer. Urban
yeah,
Meyer really had the leverage, and he took advantage of the leverage. 5-year contract. I'm sure he really had all the power. I mean, you got a GM who didn't really could say much to him,
hmm,
and I think that was the downfall of the whole situation. I just think he was a coach that had too much power. He didn't have to answer anybody. He treated people like crap in the front office. You know, even the people that sell tickets in the organization didn't like him. He wasn't liked by many people in the organization, and it's just like he was more like a tyrant than he was as a head coach, and it just got to a point where obviously we all know the story that it was just one controversy after the next. Something
yep,
he did this, and if you look back on the thing, should never hired Chris Dole, didn't defend it to hire. You know, to me, I don't think he should have. Bring in a 34-year-old guy who never played a position before. I know that Tim Tebow was a great story because he's from this area, but
yeah,
I don't think any other NFL coach would have done that. Would have gave
no,
a 34-year-old guy who's been retired for years and give him an opportunity to try to make the football team. And
yep,
goes on and on, and it just like he if he got to lie his way out of it, he would lie. It's just like it just, and then you can't. I've never heard in my life of coach unless it was a death in the family
yeah,
don't come back with the team. I mean, a lot of people don't understand what that means. That's almost like if your team lose
yeah,
and they look around the plane and don't see the coach, then is he with you or he's not with you? I mean,
right,
you win together, you lose together, and then this guy, like anything he needed, if they were 0-4 at the time, and if he needed some soul searching, that's one thing. But to go to Cincinnati, I mean, to go, go back to Columbus and basically go to a bar club that don't have a private room, a VIP, or nothing. And this fool out here, like he got
out in
people
the open,
in the open. I mean, those
hmm,
guys were like, man, do this guy not get it? I mean, we celebrities. We not like the Joe off the street.
dude, hey, there's a attribute they give attributes to players in Madden, and one of
Mhm.
the attributes is awareness, general awareness, and basically football IQ.
Yeah.
He has zero. His rating for awareness is zero, man. I can
Um,
still any article, anytime they bring up Urban Meyer, they bring that up and they talk about that, man, because that was such a stain. The fact that he was able to survive that, I was like, man, if he survived that, it's not much that can him now. I was like, he's damn near bulletproof now if he got past that.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, you kick a kicker, and that's your undoing. I mean, it's hilarious at this point. It's comedy, and it almost seems like it was staged, man, like he did it on purpose. Let's let me get some of these comments, and I'm gonna go in on that part right there. How you get fired when you sleeping reminds me of Friday, fired on your day off. Oh yeah, Tim, how you get fired on your day off? He said he knew who to mess with, not to come with that with a veteran. Well, Josh Lambo's a veteran. He knew to do it to a kicker. He didn't do that to a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
That play where Trevor underthrow the pass like 5 yards or so short, and the wide receivers run into each other. Oh my God, they got that on the loop on Twitter right now. Say the DBs, the Titans admitted they laughed at them, and they laughed at them the rest of the game. Yeah, the DBs, but the Titans was having a field day. They say it's time for the Jags to hire an Afro-American coach. Hey, I'm with it. I am with it. Bring Byron home, Jim Caldwell, Eric Bieniemy. Shoot, even you brought up Marvin Lewis. I hadn't heard Marvin Lewis, but and I saw Mike Tomlin on the list. Do people really think Mike Tomlin is going to get away from Pittsburgh? I don't see that happening.
I don't know where the hell that rumor coming from, but it's percolating. It's like
it's getting steam.
Yeah, it's like it looked like the masses wore him out to the job anyway. This was like a couple of months ago when he had to tell his reporter, like, man, you don't ask. I mean, you don't ask the other coaches questions. Yeah. You don't ask Sean Payton that.
Why are you asking me that? Yeah. Oh yeah.
But man, I believe, and I say this, man. Shad gotta really, if Leftwich is ready, which he looks to me he's ready.
Yeah.
Then give him a shot, man. I mean, I feel, I heard a guy on the radio and I was driving in from the stadium, man, talking about like Jim Caldwell. He's not the he doesn't do anything for me. And this is the problem with Jacksonville, because this is the kind of stuff get created, like Eric Bieniemy. I remember last year I heard some stuff on radio talking about like, well, Eric, the rumor is that he doesn't do interviews well.
Oh man, that burned me up when I heard that.
Now, what team released that? So you're gonna tell me the guy practically interviewed for every team that had a vacancy, and it's about his interview skills? Yeah, right. Okay. The one thing about America is good at putting a label on people, that don't have no idea at all. It could be one team who wasn't going to hire them anyway, and then they spread the word. The easiest thing is for somebody not to give you a job. The easiest thing they can say is, well, he didn't interview well.
Yeah. It's a cop out.
Yeah. That ain't based on your experience. It ain't based on anything factual. It's based on impression.
Yeah.
And impressions don't have anything to do with your job. You got, what do they give you? You got 90 days to show what you can do.
Yeah.
I'd rather take that chance on you showing me what you can do on that job in 90 days than somebody who doesn't want to hire me in the first place and tell me, well, I just didn't get a good vibe. I just didn't like, it just seemed like he wasn't into it. And that is just so judgmental more than anything. And that's one of the things that always deter us, and it happens to us, to blacks a lot, is that's the thing that keeps the door closed because of the impression,
Yeah.
And I think it goes on these coaching jobs, they don't, that just basically they saying, well, no matter how good he interviews, no matter how much his record, we're not hiring him. That's basically what it is,
Yeah.
And I don't like the fact where this, I just call it like, where you picking on the scab, but you don't know how the injury happened, but you're going to pick on the scab because of something that you heard out your left ear you don't have no facts at all, then you go on the radio say, yeah, that's the reason why you then don't know nothing. Just hearsay, and then you brand a person with a label, and then they don't know why. Like,
Yeah.
why in the world I can't get hired? I got people whispering in my ear saying I'm this and that, but nobody says nothing to me.
Yeah.
And I just think
And
that's a problem in America, man. I think that's some people don't think there's racism in this country, but that's racism. That's what that
yeah.
is, you
Yeah.
know.
Shoot. You don't believe there's racism? Anytime somebody says I don't see color, we're right there. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
red
yeah,
flag should go up
yeah, yeah.
because they're dismissing my experience that I have as whatever color I am in this country, man. You got to see people who they are, so you can adjust accordingly. But hold on, let me see. Another one I heard was Jim Caldwell from Action Sports ESPN 690. They was vouching for him as a veteran coach, know how to handle everything. Yeah, we said Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell, 7 seasons, 5 of them were winning seasons. His only losing seasons was his first year in Detroit and the interim position that he took in Indianapolis when he was the interim head coach. Those are only 2 losing seasons that he's had as a head coach. Dude, to have 5 winning seasons in Detroit, I'm sold. I'm sold off that right there alone. You see what's going on in Detroit right now? Do you see, dude? Another coach just almost went through the exact same thing Urban Meyer got put out by, and almost exact same situation, just a lot less headlines. But what was his name? The defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots just got fired by the Lions. Because Dan Campbell is the head coach now, but before him, I can't think of his name. But he always wore the pencil on his ear.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. Damn, I can't. I know the
Hold
big
on.
guy with the beard.
Yeah. Let's see. New England defensive coordinator. Let's see, because I think he's the defensive coordinator now.
Patricia.
Matt Patricia. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Matt Patricia. That's who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
But
Within
he's
5
back.
years. Within the 5 years, a lot of football players will be singing with HBCUs. Oh yeah, I did see that. You saw that. Dion got Travis Hunter, the number 1 recruit in the nation, to go to Jackson State. It's 5 years. I would say closer to 10 where you really start to see a dent. You're gonna see little stuff here and there, but it's still going to take time because Tennessee, Percy Miller, Master P's son, they're leaving Tennessee State. He said because the lack of resources that are there at Tennessee State. So
where is he gonna go at?
Yeah, well, I don't know where he's going, but the medical staff, I guess, because whatever issues that he had, he said the medical staff is just not up to par for him there. So, I mean, it is what it is. We'll see more to the HBCUs and see more people come to it. But as far as
I say Percy. I mean, Master P ought to put money into the school. He got a lot of
it makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder.
Charitable endeavors. I mean, that, and it is the problem. I mean, I've been to these
rich friends,
Grambling and stuff like that. No, they don't have the facilities because they don't. They
don't have the funding.
They don't have the funding, and they don't get the funding.
Yeah,
and but I like what Dion doing with Jackson State, man. Jackson State drawing more in that stadium than some of the Division I programs, to be honest. I mean, Jackson, they're the only team in town that plays in Jackson Memorial Stadium, and Jackson Memorial Stadium holds like 65,000 fans in there. It's a big stadium. Ole Miss used to come down there and play probably like 3 or 4 times in a season. They don't play down there no more. But hey, man, it used to be a time where the Gremlins and the Southerns and they got all the black athletes. I mean, and hey, I don't have no issue. I mean, I think it was a red letter day for HBCUs, to be honest, man. I mean, you look at it, I mean, he got what, $2 million for the, and I think he feels that Dion can get him ready for the NFL. That's all any player want. They want to get ready for the NFL. I mean, Dion knows how to, he played in the league, and I think this, man. I think Dion's window at Jackson State he'll probably be there until his sons, you
That's
know,
it. Yeah,
leave that program.
yeah,
But to have a guy to come into Jackson State, put, I mean, he's done a lot just in a season and a half or whatever it's been. I mean,
yeah.
actually he's played. He's been there for 2 seasons because they played the
Two
spring
seasons.
season, and then they're 11-1 right now.
Yeah,
It shows that if you can get a leader, charismatic, um, upgrade the pro. You can. I mean, Dion probably go any house in America, and he's gonna at least get the door open. He may not get the kid, but he's gonna at least be an open invitation to talk. You know.
oh yeah. He's going to get a seat at the table just because
Yeah.
he's Deion Sanders.
Yeah. And I think that that's the kind of boldness. That's the kind of the philosophy that the HBCU's got to have. That man, we can go out and get a 5-star. We just gotta, and it is. The problem is that the facilities are not up to par of the Michigans and the Ohio State. But we
Yeah,
living in a new age, man. We living in a new age that of anything that's relating to us, we're no longer gonna take a back seat. You know,
yeah,
we're gonna take pride in what we have, and we don't feel that we lesser than any other school of
yeah,
program of for philosophy or anything. And it's a good feeling to see that kid throw the Florida State hat and put on the
yeah. That was
Jackson
yeah,
cap.
yeah. And all this is TV contracts. Once you get the
Yeah.
TV contracts and you get that ball rolling, it starts by getting the athletes first and foremost. You have nothing without the athlete. You get the athlete, and now people want to watch your athletes. People want to watch your athletes. TV companies and digital companies like ESPN, sports companies going to be like, well, people want to watch your athletes, so we got to televise your games. That's pretty much how it goes. So the more they get the Travis Hunters, the McCure makers,
Yeah.
the 5-star who went to Howard, the basketball player, which in basketball, I think is a much quicker turnaround. Football, you're going to need a few pieces, especially quarterbacks. When I start to see quarterbacks go to
Mhm.
HBCUs, that's when it's really popping. Now they're just getting their foot in the door now. But
Yeah.
once quarterbacks
Yeah.
start going there, that's the thing. But basketball players are different. Like you, a
Mhm.
5-star can go to a HBCU and turn the program around in relatively quick fashion.
Well, Texas Southern beat Florida, University of Florida in basketball,
Yeah,
and it can happen. And
it can happen.
I always say like Grambling. I used to cover Grambling a little bit back in my early days. And I used to look around the campus and football stadium, the old Eddie Robb Stadium. And I say, man, and you look at the facility and say, how in the world did Eddie Robinson do what he did with these facilities? You know,
Yeah,
how in the world did he go out and get a Doug Williams to come play here and their facilities look like that? But you have to establish a tradition. You got to
yeah,
establish your program. And Eddie Robb, if Eddie Robb was one of the first schools at HBCUs that started playing classics, that they're playing in New York and Chicago and different places,
mm-hmm.
and they started getting money. George Steinbrenner took a great liking in the Eddie Robinson, and he was giving, he was donating money to the school. He
Yeah,
even had one year he had the Yankees play like an exhibition game on their campus,
yeah,
and a lot of these companies gotta, not just, and I say this about the NFL, you can't go around here and put these slogans up about, Black Lives Matter, stop
in racism.
racism, do
Yeah,
this, do that, put your image, you like you down with the cause and you want your
yeah,
your image to go to us, but
yeah,
then you don't invest in nothing. You don't invest in nothing, nothing. And you got a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar industry like the NFL,
yeah,
the NBA, Sony, Boeing. You got a lot of major companies that can really donate to these universities, man. And I would like to see more of that. That getting these universities need to get more corporate dollars. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely need to. But yeah, I think HBCUs are definitely on the rise. And yeah, Pastor Palmer say Jacksonville, Jackson State has a few NFL prospects. Yeah, they do. They got a few guys that they're definitely going to see the league. And I think you're going to see more guys from HBCUs go to the NFL. Dion talked about it, how there's rare. There's I don't know what the number is, but it's small, the amount of players from HBCUs that go to the NFL each
Yeah.
and every year. I mean, it's a small amount. So man, but you just got to get the athletes. That's all.
Mhm.
Get the athletes. That's where it starts. But we're gonna wrap up on Mr. Urban Meyer before we go to some other stuff. But just I'm thankful for Shad Khan recognizing what the issue was. Man, I was talking to Mr. Pastor Palmer, the weatherman, and I was saying, dude, you know he interviewed everybody, right? I said he interviewed the water boys, he interviewed the lawn maintenance people, he interviewed the cleaning service. Dude, he interviewed the pool cleaners. He interviewed who's the head of the Roar, see how he was around the cheerleaders. Dude, he interviewed everybody. He wanted to know every little detail about Urban Meyer. And when everybody and other people, he probably had a team. They did their interviews, and when they compared notes, what was
Mhm.
the result?
Yep.
Urban is a problem. He's a problem. He's an issue. And it hasn't got better. He's not going to get better. It's been one misstep after another. I've never seen somebody just misstep so many times. That's why I say it almost seems like it's on purpose. It's
Yeah.
like he got here, he realized that this isn't what I want to do, and then he started acting out. Like I don't know, man.
He might have just felt I don't think I can win at the same rate I won in college on this level. And when you
Yeah.
say about Shad Khan, man, he actually talked to at length with Trevor Lawrence on his yacht on Tuesday. Trevor
Mm-hmm.
admitted it today that he had a long conversation with Shad. He didn't go into details, but he was asking Trevor, just what his impressions are, what do you think the issues are, and from what I gather, I've heard that Trevor poured out his soul, told him everything.
Yeah.
And we would never know, Brandon, we'd never know what went on. I really feel, you can't really get it. The one thing about these NFL teams, they really don't, that, they try to keep anything, they try to keep everything internal.
Yeah.
But you can see on the surface that there's, I mean, you can't have Marvin Jones getting in a shouting match with the coach because,
Oh,
I mean, the guy's respected by everybody in the locker room
yeah.
and his normal behavior. I mean, you're talking about a 10-year vet. So you're talking about a guy that don't lose. I mean, he's the family man. So he's not gonna lose his cool. He's not gonna be baited unless it's something that was very personal.
Yeah.
And if you push him, yeah, I mean, I think Urban Meyer knew what buttons to push to what players. And it seemed to me that he had something about quiet guys. Like if you really look at James Robinson, James Robinson is not a vocal guy. He
Quiet guy. Yeah.
he's a quiet guy. Marvin Jones, I think, is the same. He's not a
Yeah.
guy that's I mean, he's not a trash talker. He's not gonna knock on the door to the media and tell them, man, I got something that I need to share with you. So he's a guy that's gonna follow the rules of the team and keep things internal, and they're gonna stay internal.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I just felt that Meyer, particularly with James Robinson, just knew what guys to push and what
Mm-hmm.
guys not to push.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous for the way James Robinson got treated, man. The second it shouldn't have took Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback, to tell the coach, we got to have this guy on the field.
Yeah.
If he was serious about winning and you can't have a coach, an NFL coach, anybody who look at a guy who didn't play at Ohio State or the Big Ten or the SEC and slighting a guy because he went to a smaller school, and then gonna tell me, like he even told us that he basically saw Carlos Hyde and James Robinson as equals.
Yeah, I remember that. I
I mean,
do remember that.
can you? I mean, there's no way in the hell they're equal.
No, not
Look
even
at the
close.
yards per carry. And it's
Yeah,
like this is the way this guy ran this program. He was loyal to the guys that he coached in college. He was loyal to those guys.
yeah,
And if he didn't think that you fit the bill, he wouldn't play you. Like I say this before we get off this topic. I don't understand why in the world did the Jaguars move up 9 spots in the draft to draft James Jordan
hmm
and they don't play him.
yeah,
I mean, does
yeah,
that make any sense? Because to me, this is the problem. What they should do, because I think you got the problem clean house.
yeah.
I
The
mean, Trent
offensive staff,
Baalke. I
yeah,
don't think
everybody.
Trent Baalke fits to what the future going to hold for this franchise. And
Yeah,
if Shad Khan can't like really go out, I mean, his track record is he can't hire a coach. He's not good at hiring head coaches. Well, maybe go out and invest in the money, go get a real GM, and let the real GM pick the head coach, so they'll be on harmony, and
yeah,
they're on the same page. Because
yeah,
I mean, how many more? You can't get this coaching high wrong again, man. Not again.
yeah,
Won't have no
yeah,
fans to the game.
yeah, yeah. No, you won't have any fans to the game, man. I know that this is a pivotal time.
Yeah,
This is a pivotal time. This is a decision that he needs to take his time and make this decision. Don't like you said, don't rush this. Um, Trevor, you got to seek counsel with Trevor. Let him meet the head coach and
hmm
figure out whether he likes the guy or not. Because it's one thing to have a coach that's already established and bring Trevor in, and you just got to deal with whatever it is. Like in New England, Tom Brady just had to deal with Belichick. It's what it is. He didn't have the best relationship. He just had to deal with it. Now Trevor's at a point where now you kind of want that relationship to be a good relationship, because you're not whoever you're bringing in, even if this is an established guy. Only one I would say off top, like if you could get a Mike Tomlin in here, I don't think. Yeah, I want Mike Tomlin.
yeah, me too.
If you could get Mike Tomlin in here, please get him here.
Instant credibility.
I mean, instant, man, instant. And you give him a young quarterback, he's going to build a defense. I think he'd be a perfect fit here. Same with Byron. But the two that interests me, really, really interests me, and Eric Bieniemy too. But two that interest me is Kellen Moore and Josh McDaniels. They do interest me,
Hmm
especially Josh McDaniels. Kellen Moore to a lesser extent because I like what he's done. I can see him being a head coach on the college level very soon if that's what he wants to do. But who's the? I forgot the other guy who I was saying. Oh, Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
Now, Josh McDaniels is interesting because to me it seems like he wasn't going to leave. He's not going to leave New England. He's going to stay up under Bill Belichick until Bill Belichick leaves, and then he's going to take over because he had a prime job in Indianapolis and he just let it go.
Yeah, he didn't
He
want
let it go.
it.
So he didn't want that job. So I'd be hard pressed to see him come here. But if he has interest, man,
Yeah.
you got to take the interview and figure out what he wants, where he's at, what his plan is, and have him ask Trevor about it. So, but be careful with this decision, man. I hope they get the right guy, man. I hope they get the right guy. And I'm mad that we can't. I wish we could bring Keenan back, but Minnesota's not going to let Keenan get out the
Yeah.
door.
No.
Yeah.
That was another mistake by the Urban Meyer,
Yeah. Too. But besides coaching moves, personnel decisions. The fact that Fryermuth is not a Jaguar is just egregious.
Yep.
It's egregious, man. Fryermuth should have been a Jaguar. Barmore probably should have been a Jaguar.
Yep.
Like these guys from start to finish, it has been incompetence. It seems like Trent Baalke was a retread. I mean, he's been ousted everywhere he's been.
Yeah.
Same with Schottenheimer. Same with Bevel. I mean, these guys have experience, but they're retreads, man. They
Yep.
are. They're retreads. Go get some guys. Like you say, Warhawk. Warhawk is somebody with old concepts. This is an old coach. And he only got retained because Urban Meyer, that was one of his guys, one of
Yeah.
his buddies. So
Yeah.
I guarantee you the new head coach is probably was going to keep Warhawk. So you got a young defense that you can add some more pieces to. Add another pass rusher, add some more DBs, maybe another linebacker or so, and another draft class, another free agency class, and you can have a very stout defense going forward. I mean,
Mhm.
Jihad Ward hadn't made a play since what was that? September, Labor Day, or something like that, man. Something crazy. Dude, Jihad Ward hadn't made a play in a long time, and he made a play Sunday. So you got some guys offensively, wide receivers, offensive line, and go get a tight end.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Go fill the skill positions and build the line. Evan Neal, Jameson Williams. People talking about Trent Williams, but San Francisco is not letting Trent Williams get away.
No.
Trent Williams has a 99 blocking grade, according to Pro Football Focus. I've never seen that grade on the lineman. It's 99.
Yeah.
So yeah, Trent Williams is not going away. He'd have been good for Trevor, but he's not going anywhere either. So,
But that's what they need to do, man. I would like to see this team just have this mentality of just, man, we want to go to the Super Bowl. We're willing to spend whatever it takes.
yeah,
Upgrade the talent, draft good, but upgrade some talent. If you got to trade, I say if you got to trade Miles Jack and you get 3 players for Miles Jack, because if you look at how the Rams are constructed, the Rams, even if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, I like the fact that the Rams
yeah,
go out and add talent to what they have. They don't care if it's a trade, if a guy off the waiver wire,
yep,
they know exactly what their needs are, and they add talent on top of the talent that they have. And that's what this franchise have to do. I don't want to hear about well he's a man, like Odell. I heard somebody say, well, he wouldn't fit here. I think, well, he wouldn't fit here. I mean,
wouldn't
what do you mean he wouldn't fit here in what you got? You got to at least try. Shit,
yeah,
if he doesn't want to play, then he'd be losing his salary. But you got to have a philosophy in which the Jaguars don't have,
yeah,
that you got to go out and be aggressive. Forget the 10 years, 10 losing seasons and 11
yeah.
years. You
Yeah.
got to
What's your
set the
identity?
bar. Yeah, you got to set the bar high, and you got to continuously say our only focus is the Super Bowl. I haven't heard that. I heard a little bit in 2017. I haven't heard any focus with this franchise about this is our ultimate goal, Super Bowl. They
Yeah,
they don't preach it. If you don't preach it, talk it, or walk it, how are you gonna achieve it?
yeah. You see, the Jags need some bad boys, not church boys. Yeah, you're not gonna win many games with a team full of choir boys. I figured that out very early when I was coaching. I was like, man, we need some dogs in here, man. I
Yeah.
mean, these are nice kids. This is a nice young man and all, but I need some dogs in here, man. I need some kids where they're on the edge a little bit. You got to be different to play that game, man. You got to be a different type of individual to play that game, because it's not just about speed and power and size, man. It's up here for a lot of guys, man. Because they
But
do. You got plenty of. We always say, and these guys look like Tarzan, play like Jane.
yeah,
You seen plenty of those guys, man. Big hulking dudes, can't play a lick. It's up here, baby. You need to get guys with a winning mentality.
and they
That's what
need
you
to
need.
start with the offensive line. They ain't got no dogs on the line. That's the problem with what I got with the Jaguars. They ain't got no mean dogs. They used to have them. If you go back in the history, they had some dogs. Like
Shoot,
that.
Vince Manawai
Yeah.
was a dog. Chris Naoli. Shoot, Brad Meester. Brad Meester was one of our best
Mhm.
offensive linemen we ever had.
Mhm.
Shoot, even we had Khalif Barnes at tackle for a little bit. Khalif Barnes was a dog, man. So you
Yeah.
had some guys.
And that play in the Rams, that just still sits with me. Like Jalen kicking the guy in the head, Andrew Norwell walks away.
Walks away.
And that's like,
yeah. And he was supposed to be billed as a dog. They told me he was nasty. He's a dog. I hadn't seen it.
He just nasty to normal folks. When it comes Sunday time, he ain't. Hey, the guy in front of him get nasty with him, and he don't get nasty back.
Yeah, dude. Pastor Pop say we need some Vietnam veteran kids. Hey, yeah. Let's get some toughness in here, man. Some absolute toughness. But I just hope that Shad Khan does get this right. I mean, he has to get this right, man. I seen where they talked about Deadspin had an article talking about Jim Harbaugh. Let's see, share this real quick. So you look at this. It's funny. It's short and it's funny. And they talking about how he predicted Jaguar Urban Meyer's tenure as a Jaguar. And they say Jim Harbaugh told us how Urban Meyer's tenure with the Jacksonville Jaguars would end. And it says Jim Harbaugh finally got a win over Urban Meyer 2 years before Urban Meyer got fired at 1 a.m. Just 13 games into his pro career by arguably the worst owner in the NFL. Wow, that's a shot at Khan. So Harbaugh already knew how it would end. He said a really phenomenal record everywhere he's been, but also controversy follows everywhere he's been, Harbaugh said. And they do that right there. That's damning right there. Say Myers 2-11 in record with the Jaguars put a dent in the phenomenal record part of Harbaugh's quote, and he nailed the rest. At least 30 players were arrested during his tenure at Florida. We knew what he got run out of Ohio State after got caught lying about domestic abuse enabler as he allowed his favorite assistant coach to keep hitting his wife. And 2021 has been a running list of controversial and plain dumb decisions Meyer has ever made. They say a look at his tenure as a coach. So let's see. Let me see because I think it's a full picture. Let's see if we can pull this up. Where are we at? Okay, there we go. All right, so this is the running list, y'all. This one, everybody's like, well, why did the Jags? If you watching the stream, like, well, why did they fire him? What was the cause? Pick one. That's all I can say. Pick one. Hired Chris Doyle as the team's director of sports performance. Doyle was accused of making racist comments and belittling players during his time at Iowa. After heavy backlash, Doyle resigned. After national backlash, because locally we scrutinized the move, but it wasn't until national media got hold of it that he decided to resign. And see, he signed Tim Tebow as a tight end, drafted a running back in the first round despite having James Robinson on the roster, openly admitted that he was hoping to draft Kadarius Toney with the pick they used on Travis Etienne. Yes, he did. Told reporters that they cut players due to their vaccine status. NFLPA opened an investigation to those comments, which they found out 23 of the 24 players cut were vaccinated. So that was much ado about nothing. Had an open competition for starting quarterback between Trevor Lawrence and Gardner Minshew. Minshew was later traded, but split valuable first-team reps with Lawrence. Man, we talked about that ad nauseum, Mr. Reid, a couple times. That was a waste of time.
Yep.
Yeah, waste of
Took
time.
away his first string snaps.
Yeah, it did. Didn't travel with the team after their Week 4 loss to Cincinnati. Viral videos and the photos emerging him with a woman other than his wife. Report says he called his coach's loser. Argument with Marvin Jones. Bench James Robinson. Former kicker goes on record, says he once kicked him and told him, hey, Dip S, make your effing kicks. 2-11 record. I mean, that right there. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's 1 year. That's not even
13 games left. Yeah, 13 games.
That's 13 games. I've never seen a laundry list like that, man.
And another thing is that he was treating his players like they was like not.
Oh yeah,
in, you know that.
Yeah,
talking
the college. Yeah.
And it's just like this. You know, I say this. The one thing I hate about this whole thing, I think he's destroyed college coaches going into the NFL. I don't think a college coach, even if it was Debo, I don't think, unless it's probably Saban, probably.
Oh, you talking about Dabo?
Dabo, yeah. I think that if they have any hopes of getting into the NFL, he just destroyed them. Yeah. I think he, it's just like, man, we cannot hire a college coach. It'll turn out just like what Urban did.
Yeah,
he
and on
just
that on that list, they had the list of college coaches coming out and as a head coach, and it says hired as first time NFL head coach after going college since 2000. Jim Harbaugh, 2011, from Stanford to the 49ers, is by far the best. 44, 19, and 1 with a Super Bowl appearance.
yep.
Uh, Greg Schiano, Rutgers to Tampa, he was 11 and 21. Doug Marrone, Syracuse to the Bills, he was 15 and 17. Chip Kelly, Oregon to the Eagles, 26 and 21. Bill O'Brien, Penn State to the Texans, 52 and 48. Cliff Kingsbury, 23, 20 and 1. Matt Rule, 10 and 19 so far. Urban Meyer, 2 and 11. So you're right. This really has a lasting effect on head coaches in college trying to get to go straight to being head coaches in the NFL. Like unless you're a Nick Saban or a Dabble Sweeney,
Yep.
I don't see it happen. Now Lincoln Riley is up there. I think he's in that upper echelon as far as coaches is concerned, but he's not going nowhere. That man is paid very well, and there's no need for him to go anywhere. So, like you said, those guys. I mean, I can see maybe a guy can rise through the ranks and become a winner or something like that and get hot, and a guy owner falls in love with him. But other than that, man, a guy with experience is what they're going to hire most times now.
Well, I think he's burned the bridge, man. I think he's done messed it up for everybody that's behind him. That it's already been a reputation that they feel that college coaches can't make make the successful jump. So
Yeah,
I feel that whatever little room or whatever thought that these NFL general manager were having, it'll be 20 years before they make a move like that. That they were hired and then offer a 5-year contract like Urban got. I think he just practically destroyed that for those guys. Those guys probably would have to, in order to be bridged into the NFL, they would probably have to be they'd probably have to go from a college head coach to an offensive coordinator in the NFL and then a head coach.
yeah, or position coach.
A
Yeah,
position coach. Yep.
yeah. Yeah, I think that I think that ship has sailed for a lot of aspiring college coaches who are looking to make that jump to the NFL and become a head coach.
Well, I'm almost to the point now, Brandon. I don't think this guy should have even thought about going in the NFL. I'm talking about Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
I think when you look back on it, I think that obviously he wasn't ready. And when he was hired, he was talking about like, he studied the NFL. He talked to Jimmy
yeah,
Johnson. He did all that, and he totally didn't follow their advice at all. So, I feel that, man, he might have just felt that the money that he was going to make and the power,
yeah,
he didn't understand the difficulty of being an NFL coach, where you got to play Alabama type teams every week on the schedule. And
yeah,
he did his research for whatever he said over a year, but he didn't follow up on none of the information that that he retrieved, and that's sad on his part. To be honest.
yeah, yeah. It is. Yeah, it is.
His reputation is tarnished. I mean, I know he got an 87% winning percentage in college and 3 national championships. His his reputation as a football coach has taken a significant hit with this Jacksonville situation, and
Yeah,
I think people now are going to remember the incident on the video. We'll be talking about Urban Meyer 10 years from now, and people are going to say, man, oh, that Urban Meyer that was in Jacksonville, we got caught on the video. That's what
mm-hmm.
he's going to be wrestling. That's that going to probably turn out to be his legacy.
Yeah,
They're going to talk about that incident and Jacksonville failure. It's going to supersede those 3 national championships.
yeah. It is
And he
because
put himself in that situation.
yeah, you failed at the highest level.
Yep.
Flamed out. One of the worst flame outs I've ever seen, man. You didn't even last a whole season. But you are right. This is just like John Gruden.
Yep.
John Gruden is not going to be known for being a Super Bowl winning coach.
Yep.
He's going to be known for those emails.
Yep.
That's just what it is now. The entire legacy. Like you're right. Urban Meyer's gonna be known for his 13 games here in Jacksonville, all the dysfunction, turmoil, and debauchery he did, and of course that video. Those are going to be damning things. I mean, right now, if I am a university and I have a standard, which all universities do, and I want to uphold stuff and I want to hold people accountable for their actions and be responsible, how in my right mind would I hire Urban Meyer? I don't care how good of a football coach he is. Just to have his name attached to your program, I wouldn't want that right now.
I don't think any college, university will hire him at for just what done went on in Jacksonville. You know, they're talking about Notre Dame job. I I mean he don't fit Notre Dame. I mean,
At all.
surely he wouldn't fit USC either. And it just the guy damaged himself more here than any other time, even with the situation that happened at the end when he was at Ohio State. 'Cause that damages his reputation too. But this is this is unrepairable. There's no owner, no. It's particularly in the NFL, but no college. I don't think I don't think he's employable in college anymore.
No, no, I don't think so either. I think this is it. I think this is a wrap for him. At least for now.
Yeah,
At least
he's
for
gonna
now.
be like
Now,
Bob Stoops. No, people say Bob Stoops can't get a college job anymore because he sat out too long. He wanted the Florida job. Florida said no. We don't. He's been out the game too long, and that's what's gonna happen to him. They're just gonna say, nah, man, he's burned out. He's not gonna never return to be the same Urban Meyer that won those national championships. It ain't in his blood. It's not in him. And university not gonna invest that kind of money in a guy that they unsure about.
yeah, yeah. I didn't know that they basically gave Stoops the cold shoulder. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I would have hired Stoops.
Hmm.
I mean, look what you hired instead of Stoops. Yeah, look what. Yeah, that's the only reason I'm saying that is like look what result have you gotten since the day you said no to Bob Stoops?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know much about this guy they got. They got a 5-star, I think. I think they signed their first 5-star.
yeah.
They got the kid from IMG.
And Napier, I forgot Napier was on Alabama staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's from Alabama. Yeah, so
There's a lot of
I
pressure
don't
on the
know.
guy that was coaching at Lafayette, Louisiana. So I don't know, man. This a whole different ball game than Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah,
Because I think Miami got better. Hopefully Florida State can get better. They lost that 5-star recruit, but Miami gonna get closer to what they used to be. I don't know how long it'll take, but they got a great coach. He knows all the contacts down there in South Florida with those high schools. So I think they improved in that area, but I don't know much about the Florida coach, man, because you can't. I don't know, man. It's a different level when you coaching at Louisiana Lafayette and then you go coaching the SEC. I remember a guy was Brett Favre coach at Southern Miss named Curly Hallman, and when he coached Brett, they were good. They upset that hell they upset. I mean, they beat Florida State one year in the Gator Bowl.
Yeah,
And he did. I mean, he won at Southern Miss because of Brett Favre. And then when he got the job in LSU, LSU had the worst football in the history of the program was during his 5 years at the school in the early 90s.
wow.
And
I didn't
sometimes
know
when
that.
you get an unknown guy, he might be great at that level. But when you go play the big boys, you play those Texas A&Ms and you got the Alabamas and and that pressure mount, Florida's a pressure job, man.
Yeah,
This
shoot. Urban figured out that Jacksonville is a pressure job. Like you're right. There are no Appalachian states.
no.
Like there's none of that. There's no North Dakota State. There's no Grambling. There's no FAMU. There's no Division II, Division III schools
Yeah.
on the schedule. Every week you're playing Alabama, as they say. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
much
somebody in the NFL, yeah.
yeah in the NFL.
And every team takes away your weakness, and if you don't have a counter move, that's what's
Hmm.
wrong with the teams that lose. That's what's wrong with the Jets. That's what's wrong with a young team. Young teams can't win because they're gonna find a way to take away your strengths. And when they
Yeah,
take away your strengths and you ain't got no counter punch, then you just running the ball up the middle, just running up the middle, man. You can't, that's what's wrong with the Bengals. The Bengals got talent, but the Bengals don't know how to win yet. But once they
yeah,
learn how to win and they add more talent, then they'll be up there. They'll be there to beat Pittsburgh consistently and all those teams in their division, Baltimore too. But right
yeah,
now, even talent alone don't assure you playoff spots. It's like it's a whole learning process that goes into that. And when you like Jacksonville, where you got so much turnover with their coaching philosophies and changing this, there's nowhere in the
awful
world.
drafting.
Yeah, awful drafting, not keeping your draft picks, and that like if you go back to that 216 draft and nobody's still around, but if you go look at even the Patriots, most of the teams that win, those are the cornerstones of the team. Those guys that was drafted in 216, 217, 218. And that's what the
Yeah,
difference with the Jaguars. They don't have no draft capital that they retain.
yeah,
Yannick shouldn't be in Las Vegas. Yannick should still be in Jacksonville and
yeah,
a bona fide leader.
yeah.
Jalen Ramsey, too. Jalen Ramsey shouldn't be in the Rams. He should be here.
It should be here.
But if they had a stable situation, which is what they need to get stability at the general manager job, and they need stability at the head coaching job, and then those guys that have a second contract and they'll still be on your roster. And
Yeah,
when you nothing is better than experience. You got experience. Those guys done been through this, done been through that, done saw that team, don't know what they're doing. They switch up the offense. They know exactly where to play play the coverage. Man, you can't substitute experience in the NFL.
no, no, you can't. Shoot, Calais Campbell should still be here.
Yeah,
Um,
they gave up on the guy. If
yeah,
Baltimore wanted him, what in the world? Why would you give up on him if Baltimore won? Baltimore is a defensive oriented team, and they
yeah,
saw enough in the Calais Campbell. This guy can still help us.
yeah.
And the team that don't have talent, that what troubles me about the Jaguars. A team that don't have talent gonna tell a guy that he done lost a step. I mean, but
Calais was
Baltimore
better than anything you put on the field since he left.
exactly, and he would have still been better than anything they put on the field. But that's amazing to me that he lost a step. I lost a step. His lost step better than the best step that you got anybody on your defensive front.
Yeah, Allen
Like
Robinson should
yeah.
still be here. Mercedes Lewis still going strong, man. I was watching the Packers the other night. He's still going strong, man.
That's just amazing to me, man. Like these guys got the nerve to say somebody lost a step, and that lost step is not good enough for us. And we done lost all these games. We got 10 losing seasons in 11 years, but we told Calais that he couldn't play for us no more because he lost the step. Man,
Yeah.
I shake my head.
Don't forget, what about Baltimore, Pastor Palmer? What you talking about? I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm see what he's talking about. But yeah, I don't understand that, man. The Jaguars, I seen where we're not the worst team over the last couple of years as far as record is concerned. I was shocked by that. There's three other teams that are right where we are. Two, I think, have a worse record. I think the Jets and the Giants have a worse record than us over the last couple of years. I think they were like 20 and 55. Yeah. Oh no, I can't agree with that, Pastor Palmer. He's good. Say time for Miles Jack to go. No, Miles Jack is fine. Miles Jack is fine. I don't have an issue with Miles Jack. I think
Hey
he's
man, if
fine.
I can get me some trade capital, I trade him.
Yeah, that
I
man, if
get
you can get some
If
for him,
I
but
can get me some trade, if I can get me a receipt, I wouldn't trade them for draft picks. I'd trade them for veteran against veteran. You get
yeah,
me a couple of receivers, veterans that's good that can break the A. I trade Jack to for two players. to the Texans and give me that wide receiver they got and add me a
Cooks.
yep. I'll make the deal.
Make the deal. That
Yep.
wouldn't be a bad deal. I don't think that'd be a bad deal because I think you can. I think Miles Jack is a good player, but I think you can find linebackers. Um, I think
Well, you
yeah,
can
I think
draft
he'll
them.
be fine.
You can get a good linebacker in the draft, but that the problem here is, man,
Kenny.
I got too many.
Mhm.
I don't care about draft capital. At some point, you got too
Yeah,
much draft capital. If I
yeah.
got all the draft capital in the world and I draft 7 guys and I only have 2 playing like right now, that don't benefit me at all.
No, it
I'm
doesn't.
not being benefited by that. I want veterans. I want a guy that I know that can play. And he got at least 2 years on his contract, 2, 3 years
Hmm.
left on his deal. I will ship Miles Jack to anybody that can give me a veteran receiver with speed and give me somebody else, even if it's a backup. Give me a
Yeah.
veteran and we'll make that trade. I don't
Okay.
want that pick. I'm tired of draft. We've been holding on to draft capital for too long.
Yeah, that's why
You
Kenneth Bryan said get rid of that GM. Yeah, yeah. We talked about
know,
it. Balky needs to go too and go
Jimmy
get you a
Johnson
competent GM.
when Jimmy Johnson was in with the Cowboys, he had draft picks, but he also made trades.
Made trade.
He added talent. You got to add veteran talent. You
Yeah,
win quicker with veterans than you do with rookies. But you got to build. You got to have the veterans in place until those rookies get to be
yeah.
developed and can be a contributor.
Yeah, your core, your foundation that you build is the draft. You
Yeah,
build through the draft, and then you add veteran pieces, like what the Rams did. The
yeah.
Rams core is drafted players, but ever since they drafted that core, they've been adding veteran piece after veteran piece after veteran piece. That's what
You got
they've been doing.
to add talent, man, and especially in that division. You got Arizona, Seattle, San
Yeah, 49ers.
Francisco, man.
Yep.
You also have to build your team, and this is another thing the Jaguars don't do. You got to build your team. The only thing that matters is playoffs. And how to get in the playoffs, you got to either win your division or at least finish second, and you got to develop your team to beat every team in your division. If the Titans is
Yeah.
more physical than you, then you go out and get linemen, particularly on the offensive line, because that's the problem. Their defensive front is better than your offensive line, and it's been that way even in 2017. Their defensive front was better than the Jaguars' offensive line, and they cannot physically match up with them. And that's
Yeah.
why Derrick Henry able to run and do all that kind of stuff because their defensive front offensive line, both of them, is more physical than the Jaguars. And the Jaguars wanted to be a physical team, but they can't match up against the Titans. I would base my strategy on whatever the Titans do great, I want to be better than the Titans. And that's what you do. I want
Yeah.
to go find me a Derrick Henry. Well, if I got James Robinson, I want an offensive line that can clear the holes that their offensive line clear for Derrick Henry. I want my line to clear holes for James Robinson. You
Yeah.
know, they went out and got the receiver from Atlanta. I want to go out and get a receiver that can make plays like him. You got
Yeah.
to do every. That's the one thing that Tom Coughlin did great when he was here. Everything centered on Pittsburgh when they were in that division. That was the goal. In order for us to get through in that division, we got to go through Pittsburgh. Everything was built around we got to be better than Pittsburgh. We got to do this better than Pittsburgh. We got to get better at this area. We got to do. That's what they got to do when they bring somebody else in here. If you're gonna be in the
Yeah.
AFC South, you got to base your strategies on I got to be better than the Titans and I got to be better than the Colts.
Yeah.
They might be at the same level even right now with the Texans, but they got to base their thing on who's the most consistent winners in that division, the Titans and the Colts. You gotta
Yeah.
you gotta make up your roster that can compete against those two teams. 'Cause that's what
Yeah.
they should do.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been showing up to gunfights with knives for a very long time.
Shit, plastic forks, man.
Man,
they,
dog.
they ain't got no knives. They got forks, man, and they plastic.
You said plastic fork.
Yeah,
Golly.
they got plastic forks. They be plastic when they play the Titans. They done lost 7 in a row, 8 in a row in Tennessee. They can't win there.
Mm-hmm. You'd be like, hey, I got a plastic fork, but that ain't
Yeah.
no Draco though.
Plastic fork. You put it on your steak, man, and it's like just the tip of the fork just bend. It just bend and break. That's what this
Man,
team is. That's what happened when you draft Taven Bryan.
that's exactly what happens when you draft Taven Bryant over Lamar Jackson. That's
Exactly.
that's exactly what
That's
happens. See,
called a football curse, man. And they got a boy that curse been around a long time, man.
right, right. You see, 100% right. Vet groom rookies. Yeah, the vets do help groom the rookies, teach them how to be a pro. You see,
Yeah.
and not necessarily mentorship, person to person, watching what they do. Like that's how Brett Favre said he mentored Aaron Rodgers. He said, "Watch what I do.
Yeah.
Watch what they do." You see, more than the more the Titans than the Colts. Yeah, more the Titans than the Colts. But the Colts are still a perennial winner. They've been to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I know at least out of the last 10 years, I'm sure they went 6 or 7 times easy, especially with Andrew Luck. So the
But
Colts are the class.
Brandon, I feel if they do everything to just knock off those two teams, they'll
Yeah,
beat 80. They'll beat at least I say 75 to 80% of the teams in the league if their roster was better than the Titans and the Colts every year.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Kevin said, "Don't draft anything out of University of Florida." Oh, please don't. No more, no more, no more. You can't draft out of there. It's not like it's not good players that come out of there. For whatever reason, they can't draft out of there. I mean,
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts was the last Florida Gate. I was like, yeah, I want that right there. I want Kyle Pitts here. Kadarius Toney too to a lesser extent, but yeah, don't draft no more Florida guys,
Yeah, I
man.
go draft. I get my draft stock from Alabama,
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Georgia. I
Alabama,
get me some
Ohio
Georgia
State.
linemen. I go up to Ohio State and get me some skill position
Mm-hmm.
players. I get
Yep.
my secondary from out of Ohio State. I need some linebackers. I go to Penn State. I mean, it ain't. I mean,
Yeah.
football is not hard, man. You got to
No.
follow the tradition. Your
Yep.
linemen. If USC got some linemen, I go out and get me some offensive linemen in the
Hey,
Pac 10.
hey, I go to Big Ten. Go to the Big Ten and go get you a tight end.
Yep, yep,
Go with the Iowa, Penn
yep,
State. Go get a tight end from the Big Ten.
yep.
Yeah, but we've been
But
so
don't get a
incompetent for so
quarterback from
long.
UCF.
Right.
Ah, man, don't go to San Jose and get a tight end, man. Even though I
Boy.
think the kid, how's that kid playing for Baltimore? Is he playing?
Which kid?
The, the kid they drafted from San Jose State, they got hurt all the time. That tight end.
Oh, Josh Oliver.
Yeah.
I don't think Josh Oliver has played much, man, at all.
Mm.
I've seen him catch a few passes, but I don't think Josh Oliver has played much, man. Let's
Yeah.
see, Josh Oliver, Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, I don't yeah, experience 3 years. Let's see, what does stats say? What does stats say? 1 catch, 6 yards against the Browns. So he
That's it.
has his season total so far with the Ravens, 8 catches, 65 yards, no touchdowns. So he isn't doing much here,
Yeah,
much there.
he ain't getting on the field much.
They say all the big linemen used to come out of Nebraska back in the day. Oh yeah, you go up north. Go up north to get those big linemen. Defensive linemen come from the south. You get defensive linemen from the south. Any of the schools in the south, go come and get your defensive linemen. Yeah, that's how it was back in the day. Hey, you wanted speed, straight south. It was the south. Now the speed goes. The big colleges come in and they pilfer the speed, and the speed leave Florida and they go all over the country now. But
Oh,
speed used to be right here in the south. You come want to get your speed.
yeah. The Florida schools got to keep the talent in the state, man. I want, I if I don't, I want this. I want the Florida States, I want the University of Miami's, and I want the University of Florida's to get back to where it was back, in the 90s and the 80s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Talent
yeah,
in the state. All three teams are good, and college football is like the top dog in the state, man.
yeah, yeah. So. Well, I think we've covered Mr. Urban Meyer. I say didn't have many topics for tonight. That was the one I knew we was gonna spend majority of the show focused on. But there were a few things that I saw that caught my eye. The late wide receiver Vincent Jackson
Yeah,
say he was diagnosed with stage 2 of CTE. So I guess they donated his brain and had them do an autopsy, and they say he had stage 2 of CTE, which at this point, man, it's not very surprising when I hear reports about this stuff. It's like, well, that's it's normal now. Now that we know about it and what it is, it's not surprising. I think more studies need to be done on it as far as when guys are living versus when after they have passed. So you find out whether it's the ways you can treat it, things you can what you can do, certain behaviors you need to look out for in your loved one, or your former player or whoever, and see what kind of behaviors that he displays when he has those things. But I mean, Vincent, if I'm saying, yeah, he had killed himself. And they say he had a drinking issue, and he had some issues. He had been acting erratically before he passed. But to find this out, man, it's and to think the NFL wanted to deny this. They wanted to bury this, and they buried this for a very long time. Then that part, I think that doesn't get talked about enough of how disturbing that is when you talk about players and the guys that help put money in y'all pockets.
Mm-hmm. No, they don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. So I saw that and it said, let's see, Vincent Jackson was a brilliant, disciplined, gentle giant whose life began to change in his mid-30s. He became depressed with progressive memory loss, problem-solving difficulties, paranoia, and eventually extreme social isolation. Let's see, Dr. Ann McKee, chief of neuropathology for the VA Boston Healthcare System, director of the BUCTE Center, said in a statement, said that his brain shows stage 2 CTE should no longer surprise us. These results have become commonplace. I just said that. He said, what is surprising that so many football players have died with CTE and so little is being done to make football at all levels safer by limiting the number of repetitive subconcussive hits. CTE will not disappear by ignoring it. We need to actively address the risk that football poses to brain health and support players who are struggling. I mean, that's exactly what I just said. They need to do more regarding CTE. You're going to have more guys. There's more guys this is going to happen to. I mean, you had Aaron Hernandez, a guy who played a few years in the league, played a few years at Florida, and they said that his brain, when they took it out and they examined his brain, they said his brain had aged to like almost like the age of an old man. It was so bad. You see, they want to bury it because the brother was outing them. Oh yeah, yeah. If you didn't have the whistleblower, shoot, we might not know about this right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this I mean, it is what it is. I just don't think I say I don't think, but stuff like that isn't surprising to me anymore. Let's see. Okay, no, that's about John Jones. Okay, I think that was it. That's what we want to talk about before we go into a little bit of NBA before we get out of here. These new NFL protocols
Yeah,
and them going back
came
to
out today, man.
these new they're not new. They're returning to old
Old
protocols.
protocol from a year ago.
And I just want to say this though. I just want to say this. Are we ready to admit that nobody knows what the hell they're doing? They're guessing it. They're making it up at this point, and it's hilarious because I don't think that those restrictions are. I I don't see them doing much better, making things much better, because players are going to still have contact with outside people. Now, you can urge them to limit their contact, but it's not going to stop guys from being around family and friends and people in their inner circle, or young guys from even going out. Too, you had a politician, I think in New Zealand, who had close COVID contact, and she went out partying at a club till 4 a.m. after she had close COVID contact, maskless. So I'm like,
that she knew about it.
they don't say whether she didn't know about the whoever she was in close contact with. I can't remember if she did or not, so I don't want to say that and misquote what I saw. But she apologized for it and whatnot. But she's a politician, older woman. She's not a teeny bopper, and she's out doing? She's out partying. So what do you think the young guys with millions of dollars are going to do? They're going to be going out partying. So I don't think these rules change anything. It just make things tougher on those who cover the game, of course, like you yourself, and the fan. It makes it tough for us and the player too, of course, because the players don't like those restrictions either. And it's like, I've gotten my I got my 1 shot, I got my 2 shot, and I'm thinking about getting the 3rd shot. But you telling me that no matter what I get, I'm going to be under these restrictions again for at least the end of the season.
Yeah, and that what makes it tough, man. I mean, even like us, the media, man, I done had 3 shots, and a lot of others in the media done had 3 shots, and we still got to get tested weekly,
Yeah.
And it's just like if somebody cough in the press box, everybody looking around like, damn, I hope he ain't got COVID, but we done took the test. I mean, it's like it just bothers me to a point now. It just seems like, I just share a story with you, like Southwest Airlines. It just seemed like Southwest, every flight is everybody's on top of each other. You go out there and like, we got all these rules, and this is another thing that's wrong in society, man. We got all these rules, just like the NFL, where you gotta, they want you to be spaced 6 feet apart or whatever it is. If you go to these airports, there's no restrictions. It's like LAX and Los Angeles is like, man, you got people everywhere. If that seat is open and it's the middle seat, they sit next to you. So people don't, you go to certain places in this country, like, man, they don't care about where he might have the virus. He's not wearing the mask. I've seen people ain't had no mask on and they just sat there. They wanted to sit down. Shit.
Yeah.
They ain't standing up because somebody sat down and ain't got a mask on.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, we're in this world where there's some things, there's some certain areas of the country that's taking more of precautions than others,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if we're gonna ever fix this problem, man. Just like the NBA. The NBA said they wasn't testing players every day. They're only testing if somebody come back, somebody catch it, then they'll test. And that's why they got the raised numbers now, because they done had more players come up with the COVID, and they got to test the players on the team, so their numbers are higher.
Yeah, yeah. So
I'm sick of I'm sick of the pandemic, man. It's just like, boy, and it's just like the NFL. Now we're gonna probably have to have Zoom interviews. We got to go back to Zoom, and who want to go travel the day after Christmas to go see the Jaguars play the Jets, and you're not gonna be able to get access to the players other than on your computer, which you can get the computer access in your living room.
Yeah. Yeah. Who wants to do that? You're right. Who wants to do that? Oh, I think where Baker Mayfield, and this is, you're going to hear more and more players come out. They're going to rip the NFL for this because they don't want to be under those restrictions, because they see it for really what it is now. Man. They see it for what it is. Like, a lot of the country is like, they're like, you know what? It is what it is. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. There's nothing that we can do that's going to stop the spread. You're always going to have a spread of it. The only thing you can do is, hey, you have underlying issues, or you're fearful, or or you're just trying to be safe. You get the vaccine so it limits your going to the hospital. But other than that, man, I mean, there's nothing that they're going to be able to do.
And I'll be honest, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, you know, when everybody first started getting these vaccinations, it was supposed to be rare cases that a someone detect the virus after they took the shot, and
Yeah.
it's like it's not even a well like all those NBA players, they got COVID after they done taken the shots.
Mm-hmm. Even LeBron has called it out. LeBron said something fishy going on. I think Odell Beckham talked about it. He said, man, it's something weird going on with these protocols, man.
Yeah,
They
Joel.
called out the leagues. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what's going on, Brandon. Man, the NFL is scared because they make the most money on the playoffs. You look at this time of the year, we got Christmas next week.
Yeah.
They know players gonna be with family. They're gonna, you don't have family and well, at least mine don't, where it's an ultimatum. They ask the family member, do you have your back? Have you been vaccinated?
Oh, I've seen some of those though. I have seen some of those, and I don't talk to a couple people about that. And I'm like, yo, if that's how you feel, if you're like, well, if you're not vaccinated, forget it. I don't want to see you either.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If you don't want me to be there because I'm not vaccinated, cool. Stay that way forever.
Yeah. So they're scared. They don't want to be disrupted. They don't want to have 14 players off one of these playoff teams that can't play with the quarterback. They don't want to have Green Bay in the playoffs and Aaron Rodgers can't play because he tested positive for COVID. So they're gonna try to implement this stuff so it be restrictive. And then these guys go on the road for the next I think that they're gonna implement this for the next 2 weeks to see how it goes. And they just scared. All they doing, I mean, that's the one thing I don't like about the NFL, because the only thing that really matters to the NFL is money.
Money.
That's it. It has become a game from love of the game where you didn't have some of these games be on, so 8:30 ain't one of the kickoff like it's 8:27, 8:30. I mean, if you a kid, who the hell gonna watch? What, are you gonna watch a quarter before you got to go to school?
Yeah.
Like a Thursday night game starting almost 8:30, quarter to 9. It's not ending until like almost 12:30 or something like that. And it's all about money. That's all that matters to the NFL. I love the product. There's some great players in that league, but everything centers around money. Especially for the league. And they're gonna protect their shield. They're gonna protect their interest, and they're gonna implement those protocols just on the fact that they don't want to have any disruption with those playoff games. They don't want to, because they could have put those protocols in 3 months ago, to be honest.
Yeah. They could have. And we having a different conversation today. But I don't think it's going to matter what protocols they put in, because what's going to happen is going to happen. I know the one thing that they do want to avoid, you don't want what happened to Denver last year, where all their quarterbacks were out and they had to play the game with the wide receiver at quarterback.
Well, what happened with that, man? They put all they took they have those traces. They all set the traces down on the same table, so all of them read the same thing. Like one guy might have been around somebody close or who had the virus. Everybody had the virus when you put those traces all together. They reading the same thing, and that's what happened.
Wow. And so some of the guys may not even had the virus. It's just that they were in the same area.
Yeah, they had the traces all on the table next to each other, and they all flicking with the red light. And when you detect, like with one detect that somebody been close, and that other the tracer right there next to it, the same reading that one tracer getting, it's gonna give it to the other one, and that's what happened.
Wow. Wow.
And those guys don't like, man. I have a problem about traces. We have traces at practice and the interview thing. I don't never want to feel like I'm being tracked.
Yeah. Always. Yeah. I didn't know. I forgot all about the tracers. Yeah. because they want to monitor where you go throughout the facility.
Yeah, who next to you, how close the person was. You know, ain't no telling what all in those traces, man. They're like those guys got to have that trace, and I think the NFL players have to take the tracer home too.
Oh wow,
yeah.
Wow, I don't see this ending no time soon, man. This is gonna be they going into next year. They're gonna have a decision to make, whether they're gonna keep this up or they're just gonna say, "All right, we open for business, back to normal, at least as normal as it can possibly be after the pandemic, and just move forward." I think we need to do that as a country. Period. Like you said, we got pandemic fatigue, dude. They were so caught up over a new variant that's killed nobody.
Yeah, that's
Nobody.
yeah. It's like lesser than the Delta, who when the Delta came to the country, it's like, well, we barely heard about it, but this new one, man, they like, man, we gotta stop the planes from coming from South Africa into the country. We gotta do this, and then they find out, like, man, this is like lesser than most of all of them. It don't put you in. Nobody has gone had to go on the ventilator, be in the hospital from that variant.
Right.
But they make it so you listen to CNN and they talk about, it's got 39 mutations, and it's just, man, it just like they just want you to scare. I think we're in the point now where they just want to scare the hell out of you to go get the vaccine.
Yeah, that is all. That's all.
Yeah, I can't protect you, but the best thing you can do is go get the vaccine.
Yeah.
And I got 3 shots, the booster shot, the 2 other ones, and I still don't feel safe, man. I don't feel safe going on an airplane and all the seats taken. Then they give you, like a Coke in a cup, and then you got to take your mask off, and it's like, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We live in an unsafe world, and we probably gonna be in an unsafe world for the next 20 years.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, the landscape is changing, and things are going to be different. Hey, that wealth gap is going to widen. Inflation is going to go up. I mean, it's going to be the poor is going to get poor, and the rich will get richer. That's how things are going to go. I mean, it's always been like that, but it's really going to be like that going forward.
Well, I like to get me some Pfizer stocks, man, because Pfizer might be the most.
What?
They're making more money than anything in the world right now. Is Pfizer.
Billions. Absolute billions Pfizer is making off of this, man. But we're gonna can that right there, and we're gonna end the show with a little NBA, and we're gonna talk about your boy. I mean, he's a fixture on the show, so we got to talk about Mr. Zion Williamson.
Man,
he is back in the news. People, I know he's a weekly thing, but he back. People, he back. So he underwent an injection in his injured right foot in order to promote bone healing, and will be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks.
Man, let me tell you something, bro. They ought to just go on and cut the cord. Don't give them no more.
Let it go.
Let it go. Just like my afro, man. I couldn't do nothing about it when it all left. That's what they got to do with Zion, man. They got to cut the cord, man. They say this dude here he done made himself way overweight, so he putting more stress on his foot. He has to walk. He got to go walk and get something to eat. He drive to the restaurant. You got to walk from his car to the restaurant. So every time I don't see him on crutches. So this dude has come up with a great exit strategy to get the hell out of there, because I guarantee you, when the 4 weeks come, that what you just said, when that time frame is done, I guarantee you he won't be on the floor. It's gonna be something else. He's not playing in new. I mean, I think I saw what I heard. Stephen A. Smith. I agree with Stephen A. Smith. I don't agree with him a whole lot, but I agree with him on this. He is not gonna play for the Pelicans ever again. They're gonna have to trade him. I mean, he's got the control of the thing. I mean, he's overweight, and he's overweight for a reason, because every time he walks, he's putting stress on that foot.
Yeah.
He ain't got a walking boot. I mean, who got foot problems and don't have a walking boot to protect it?
Walking boot, walker, hover around, easy go, nothing. He has nothing.
Wearing Air Jordans in the game. So what that did, man, that dude do not want to play in New Orleans. I
Yeah.
mean, he want to go somewhere. If he was traded right now, if he just say, you name the team, they just say they traded him to Charlotte, he would be playing within 5 days if he was with another team.
Yeah.
If they traded
Yeah.
him to Chicago, the Knicks, the Nets, Clippers, Lakers,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
would be playing right now. He
Yeah.
don't want to be there. He don't like the GM, and he's gonna do everything that I mean. From what I heard, he's using his own doctor. He's not getting stuff put in his foot through him. He's getting it through his doctor. They probably paying the doctor just to get him. He don't want to be there. I just leave it at that. He do not want to be in New Orleans.
No, oh man. So man, you making a prediction there, man, and I'm gonna have to agree with everything you just said. It's going to be something else at the end of this. I don't think that this is over. I think he wants out of New Orleans. I mean, he didn't want to be there really to begin with, in the first place. You know, New York is a place that he had his heart set on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's
But it's not a basketball town, man. I mean, if you a star, number one pick, and it's what happened with AD. It was happened with Chris Paul. Those guys do not want to be second fiddle. I mean, I know the
Yeah.
Saints are great, but the Saints are. I mean, that's the top dog in town. The basketball is a distant second. And when you play the game, man, unless you in LA, like when you competing against, two different teams and
Mhm.
football and all that, but you in a big market, so that makes
Yeah.
it different. But when you in New Orleans, a really a small town, and you still second, like the Pelicans had a great win last night at Oklahoma City. And I heard the announcer say, "Well, yeah, I mean that was a great shot that he made." But again, it was OKC and New Orleans Pelicans.
Right.
That ain't
Yeah.
that ain't
Yeah.
moving the needle. Even though he made like a 70-foot bank shot,
Yeah.
you ain't gonna
It's
hear
not moving
nothing
the needle.
about that game tomorrow. You know,
No.
and that's what it is, man. It's like it's just that it's hard for a player like Zion. It's hard for a guy like AD to be playing in that market, man. And it's like you can
Yeah.
score 34 points and you go back home and watch ESPN and Sports Center, man. Your highlights come at the end of the show. And
Oh
LeBron,
man.
them, man, like they spent like 20 minutes on LeBron. Miami
Oh
Heat
my God.
get like
Them.
10 minutes.
Yeah, and them a rookie, a rookie helping them win the game.
Yeah.
With a Mavs team that was without Luka Doncic. I mean, yeah. I mean that, and that's another thing. The Lakers are in some trouble.
Yeah,
Still, they
they in
they
trouble,
gotta
man.
defend. So, but we about to wrap up the show. One of the last things though, Mr. Dale Curry. So as you can see, Mr. Dale Curry here on the screen,
Yeah,
he's had so what'd you say?
I was trying to see what Miss Curry there. They all got all the what's going on with that.
So that's why we talking about this. Last night, his son Steph Curry, you may
Yeah.
know him. He broke the record for most threes in a career, and Dale Curry was in attendance at the game. As you can see here, with these lovely young ladies, he's holding the ball that Steph Curry hit the shot with. And one of the captains say, Dale Curry said, I can still hit threes too. Hey, he got the swag going, man. He got on the Gucci belt. Hey, it looked like, man, he got his hip hop swag, man. Look at the hat, look at the kicks, look at the shoes.
Hell,
Hey,
look like
even
he done went back to the NBA, man.
hey, look, hey, he got the beard all trimmed up. I mean, dude, hey, this man is looking free right now. And the former Mrs. Curry was there. They said she was on the opposite side of the floor, but you could tell Mrs. Dale Curry is enjoying his divorce right now. As far as his freedom, of course, now the legal battle, I'm sure he's still going to have issues until that's resolved. But as far as his freedom and being able to be around lovely young ladies such as this. Yeah, it's a different time for him. That was just a funny thing I saw. I saw that. I was like, man, that's pretty funny right there.
Man, damn, so he done took it on the chin, man.
Hey, I say, hey, man, y'all know what I put up for all them years. Yeah, she nice looking. You know, she light skin, fine, like a lot of brothers like them in the South. Hey, yeah, she looked real good. But that lady, you don't know what I went through. And I'm going to enjoy this time away from her.
Yeah, because he came home and she was gone, man.
She was gone. Dude, Steven Johnson, the tight end from the Patriots. One of their friends from college. Yeah.
Oh, man. So she was with him at the game?
She was, I don't know if she was with him at the game, but that's who she had been dealing with. Dale said she had been dealing with some other guy. And when he found out, he put her out the house. And who she went and moved in with? Steven Johnson. So, yeah. So, you mean, Dale's like, I'm over it, man. I'm over it. But I'm glad to see. We talked about it before when they were going through it and how Steph had took sides along with his wife of his mom's side. And I was like, Steph needs to stay out of that. That's not your business.
Yeah.
I say you didn't see everything. You don't be biased. That's still your dad. You still respect him. And it looks like that is the case. It looked like they still have a good relationship.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those
things.
Gave
him the ball, man. You know,
gave him the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, gave him the ball. So
yeah, he learned everything from his pops, man. When he was a little kid, he used to be at the games, the Hornet games, you know, the dad, he was like a ball boy.
Yeah, I saw where they say LeVar Ball wears a hat that says and a shirt that says "I told you so," and he's right. He did. He told us all so. Dale Curry said my hat would say I had no idea. He said because he had no idea that Steph would be what he is today. He said he marvels at it all the time.
Man, I vouch for that. Guy was at Davidson College, man. Put Davidson College on the map. Didn't go to Duke, didn't go to Wake Forest, didn't go to North Carolina with the Davidson College.
Yeah, he did. So, but man, that is about it. We're gonna wrap it up there. You got any final thoughts on Mr. Urban Meyer?
Yeah, I got some final thoughts, man.
So let's hear your final thoughts,
man.
I
said the Josh Lambo, the kick heard around the world.
Hey, one of the most important kicks in his career.
Yeah, most important kick in the career, and a guy that got get back after he got cut.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he used his name. You know, he didn't go like, oh well, you don't quote my name or anything. He said, use my name. He the one said that anybody comes in here and say any rumors or anything, they're gonna be fired. So
yeah.
Bravo to Lambo.
Yes. Bravo to Mr. Lambo. I said as soon as the report came out about him being fired, I put it on Twitter and Facebook immediately. Thank you, Josh Lambo. Thank you.
I saw
he should be voted team MVP. Just vote him team MVP.
And you know, I say this in closing, man. You know, Urban Meyer. You know that I can go back to January and saw all the excitement and everything about Urban taking over the Jaguars and everything.
Yeah.
Winning gonna come, and you know, you hear Shad Khan said that he got it right. I think they got it right in this move. I don't think this franchise would have moved forward even if he would have stayed on. You know, it would have been too many factions. It would have been too many distractions. And if he would have been successful, it only would have got worse. So and for this franchise not to get pushed back, setback, it got already done had numerous setbacks, but just to not be stagnated by just the allure of Urban Meyer and you know the great college coach. I think the best decision that they could have made was just cut it off. Just cut ties, move on, find somebody that could develop Trevor Lawrence into a great quarterback. Don't stun his growth with this, all this mess that went on this season, and go out and get a good quarterback to move this franchise to a point where it needs to get to be competitive in the league. So I think I commend them. The last word is I think they had to do it, and they did it. A good move by the Jaguars, good move by Khan. And I know he invested in a lot of money. I don't know how the scenario gonna be. If they might have a situation where they got caused where they don't have to compensate him at all of that contract. But
Yeah,
I commend the guy for saying enough is enough. We got to move on. We can't be the laughing stock of the league, and we
yeah,
can't be a reality show every other day because I think that's what this franchise is becoming. They were becoming a reality show. So
yeah,
good for that. And man, like you said, I agree with you. Take your time, get the right guy. Um, get somebody in here that can move the needle on this franchise, and be willing to take chances, don't get no complex here, about a guy, I think he may and all this kind, if it's one of these, hey, if it's Benham, Eric, any of those guys, hey, take the
yeah,
chance, you know. Take
yeah,
if it's Jim Caldwell, I wouldn't have a problem with Jim Caldwell.
yeah,
Oh, I mean, just get the best guy in here. If you need to get experience, I understand that. But
yeah,
get the best head coach that you can get. And if you got to pay the money, pay the money. But make sure you do your due diligence to get the best coach in here. So we won't be around here in this full circle in 222 and we right back at this point again. So long
yeah.
winded, but I agree with those
Well
guys.
said.
Get rid of this guy.
Yeah, yeah. Well said. I think in closing, this is the step in the right direction. I mean, you want to be a first class organization like you've claimed since you bought the Jaguars. This is the step in that direction. One of the common thing that the majority of the successful franchises, regardless of sport, share is that they admit their mistakes and they move off of them very rarely, fairly quickly. I might add. The Patriots do it. I've seen the Steelers do it. I've seen the Seahawks do it. I've seen the Celtics do it. I've seen the Lakers do it. You move off of those things when you want to be successful. When you see a mistake, hey, we made a mistake, move forward. The Seahawks signed Percy Harvin to monster money one year coming from Minnesota, and I didn't understand why they had gave him that much money. A wide receiver who was hurt. I think he had never played a full season, never had 1,000 yards, and they gave him top wide receiver money. It was a mistake. They found out fairly quickly. He knocked Golden Tate out before the Super Bowl, and he was like, okay, he got to go. You admit your mistakes and you move on. And I think this right here is a step in the right direction. Hopefully, we can get back to some semblance of competent football because, dude, 500 looks like the Super Bowl right now to a Jaguar fan. Just to be 500, dude. They made those jokes about Jeff Fisher going 7-9 and he a career 7-9 coach. Yeah, I take that over what we've been currently going through
Oh yeah.
any day of the week, man. Yeah, any day of the week, man. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media. Follow Mr. Reid on Twitter, Jacksonville.com, Florida Times Union. We will be back again. I don't think we're gonna have news like this again for the rest of the year. I'm guessing because we only got a few weeks left anyway. But I think this is the bomb. This was the bombshell right here that's going to send us into 2022. But anything else come up, we will be here to report it and talk about it. Follow me on my social media. I already said that. And man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. But man, until next time, I will talk to y'all later, man.
Peace
Peace out,
out.
y'all. Peace.